Welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey. Today's show is presented by Aura, the all-in-one digital safety tool that's hooking you guys up with a free 14-day trial at aura.com/chatsports. Let's dive into today's rumors, beginning with some Dalton Schultz conversation, as the Cowboys' timeline for getting a Schultz extension done is beginning to get a little bit tighter here. That's going to lead off today's show. Also on today's show is a Cam Newton idea of signing him to the Cowboys organization, and my thoughts on the Tyler Smith, Larry Allen comparisons. That will be at the end of today's show. I'll tell you the actual truth on that front. But Schultz, as I mentioned, leads off today's show. Is that extension coming? 2 stars on this one. I am unconvinced that's the really likely outcome, so we'll leave it right in that maybe not category right now. Dallas Morning News reports that the Cowboys and Schultz, the talks between those two, are expected to, quote-unquote, intensify closer to the July 15th deadline. That deadline is very impactful for both sides. If there is not a new deal done by that extension deadline for the franchise tag, Schultz has to play on that $10.9-ish million tag. There's nothing that can be done to reduce that cap hit. He's going to count for that amount, and there cannot be a long-term negotiation on a new deal until after the season wraps up. For now, there does not appear to be much urgency. Then again, that's not a huge surprise. The track record of the Cowboys' first time being franchise tag player, it's not great overall. And it is somewhat complicated by the developments involving David Njoku, the Browns' new high-paid tight end. A 4-year deal, $54.75 million in total. Incentives take that figure up to $56.75, which remember the number you saw initially. $28 million guaranteed. At minimum, that would likely be the baseline for an extension for Dalton Schultz because he's better at football than David Njoku is. The usage, of course, is very different, but the production was also startlingly different. David Njoku has come off a sub-500-yard season, and he is now a top 5 paid player at his position. Now, had Dalton Schultz hit the open market, I think he could have been approaching a very easy $14 million per year price tag, if not more. I think unless you get really lucky with Dalton Schultz taking a team-friendly deal, you're going to have to pay him at minimum top 5, if not top 3 tight end money. The tight end market in general is lagged behind a little bit. I don't think Schultz is that guy to totally reset it, but he's going to be expensive. So with all that in mind, we'll spend some more time on this momentarily. Will Dallas extend Dalton Schultz before that July 15th deadline? If the ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and type in Y for yes or N for no. Now, my guess right now is no. I do not think the Cowboys and Schultz end up getting a long-term deal done, and a big part of that is an extension would be very expensive. Now, I don't think the Cowboys are going to try to trade Schultz because the unprovenness behind him is very real, but we are talking a massive deal for Dalton Schultz, and it pays him as one, it would have to pay him, I should say, one of the top 5 players at his position. And I think I speak for many. I don't know if he's really a top 5 guy at the spot. Of course, that's not how the contracts work out. But Njoku's making $13.69, nice million per year. You've got to pay him the Mark Andrews, Dallas Goedert money. That's what it's going to cost, because if you're Schultz's agent, why would you settle for less? Why would you take less when you're a year away from getting at worst case, a second franchise tag that pays you a good amount of money, or gets you top 4 money? Now, the guaranteed money for Njoku was 6th, actually, not 5th. He's behind Kittle and Andrews and Goddard and Pitts and Smith, and the Jonnu Smith deal was not great for New England. I don't think either of those tight end deals have worked out quite the way they wanted it to. But if you want to keep Dalton Schultz on this team, you've got to look at a 4-year deal worth around $14 or $14.5 million per year, and probably approaching the $31 million guaranteed figure, because his agent, unless he says we'll do a team-friendly deal, is not going to take less than that. That is the market for a player of Schultz's caliber, especially after the Njoku deal. So be honest with me. What is the most that you guys would pay Dalton Schultz per year? Could be low, could be high. I want to hear from you in the comments right now. Coming up next, we'll take a look at the idea out there of signing Cam Newton. What year is it? I don't know, because this is not the first time we've had this almost exact same conversation. But first, today's show is presented by Aura. They offer financial fraud protection, identity theft protection, online and device security for you and up to 5 family members overall. And they're hooking you up with a free trial at aura.com/chatsports. I'll put that link, aura.com/chatsports, in the comments section and in the description. Perfect for people like me, because I am, after all, trying to help protect and feed my family and my newborn girl. They keep our family's online activities safe from hackers, so the information doesn't end up on the dark web. Get your free trial today at aura.com/chatsports. Again, one more time, it's in the comments and the description to make your lives a little bit easier, but it's a pretty easy URL, aura.com/chatsports. Links in the comments and in the description. Let's talk Cam Newton to the Cowboys. I'm giving this one just the 1 star of probably not, but it's not the worst idea we've heard out there in the media landscape, where sometimes we hear a lot of bad ideas. Blogging the Boys looking at other backup quarterback options, and Newton certainly is one of the more notable ones who is still available as we approach June here in the NFL offseason calendar. Now, I have no doubts that Cam Newton is good enough to be on a roster. Now, that's a low bar to clear. That is, are you a top 90 quarterback thereabouts? The answer should be yes. But the NFL doesn't always operate on a meritocracy. Ageism is very real as Newton begins to age and decline. And does the NFL view him as a quality veteran backup? I would probably rather play Cam Newton than, say, Chase Daniel. Yet Chase Daniel continues to find ways to be a high-end backup QB from a monetary perspective, despite barely playing football. So what do you think? Would you sign Cam Newton? Of course, we're going to go more in depth in here momentarily, but I want to hear from you, the audience, first. S for sign him, P for pass. You don't want to go that route. Now, unfortunately, the Newton of the last 3 years, he has not been that guy. I am old enough to remember the why pay Dak, you can just sign Cam Newton conversations. Very real arguments that were made, and we know which side has won out on that front there. The last 3 years for Cam, he hasn't been that good of a player. Bounced around from Carolina to New England, back to Carolina, and even the running game has dipped a little bit. Now, he was still really good in that area in 2020, 12 touchdowns. Newton does offer some red zone ability, but also, does that make sense to pull off Dak? No, it doesn't. So I think you're looking as a backup-only option. And on a cheap 1-year deal, sure, I'm down. Why not bring in a guy like Cam Newton and see what he can be? Is he better than Will Grier? Because I kind of think so. I do want to make this point, though. Cam Newton is a big-time name, former NFL MVP, very quiet around his market. Carolina has been mentioned again, as we could bring him back if he's cheaper, which I do think is fair from that standpoint. But I also wonder if that's a route that they want to pursue at all, of Carolina adding a veteran like Newton. And what does Cam want? If Cam still views himself as a starter, he's going to be disappointed. If he wants to just sign somewhere cheap 1-year deal, I have no doubts he can play. But sometimes, especially when you are one of the best at your position, you don't want to be a backup anymore. Is he better than Cooper Rush? I don't know. Better than Will Grier, DiNucci? Yeah, probably. It's a question of, does Cam want to be only a backup in a place like Dallas? We are very close, my friends, to 129,000 subscribers here at the Cowboys Report, so help us get there. If you haven't already, hit that big red button and subscribe. In exchange for your free subscription, you get daily videos, live shows, mailbags, all of it right here on the Cowboys Report. So if you haven't already, please subscribe today. Our final story of the day, maybe you saw the headlines out there. Jerry Jones compares Tyler Smith to Larry Allen. Did he, though? Not really. A lot of articles I saw on this one from a wide variety of outlets, and it's not really true at all in terms of what Jerry Jones actually said about Larry Allen. He did compare him, but here's the actual quote. He's talking about the power. Not as a player. I'm not saying that. But he is that strong. We are pleased. So that's not actually a comparison of Tyler Smith is the next Larry Allen. It's not what Jerry Jones is saying. Jerry said that Tyler Smith has awesome power, which he does. He specifically said, I'm not comparing them as players. And despite that, it got taken out of context in the headline. This always happens. So we'll go more in depth overall on what Tyler Smith's role in year one should be. But I got a fun question for you guys. Give Tyler Smith a Madden rating for me. If he's in the game right now, which it's always broken, just so we're clear on that front, what should his rating be? Drop your answers in the comments right now. Now, I know that Tyler Smith is wearing number 73 as a rookie, and he's playing guard, and that was Larry Allen's overall spot. Of course, he played some tackle too, and maybe Tyler Smith played some tackle as well. In general, we should never, ever, 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 ever compare non-top 20 picks to the greatest guard in NFL history. That is setting yourself up for colossal disappointment. Like, even Zach Martin isn't as good as Larry Allen is. If I get half the player of Zach Martin out of Tyler Smith, I'll probably be really happy with that selection. And the power is there. He is at his best when he's able to be that mauling road grader, and hopefully that will help lead to some better running holes for the Cowboys, since when teams dared them to run the football, they were wholly unable to actually do so. Now, right now, at the early part of OTAs, Connor McGovern was getting the reps with the ones at left guard. I expect, and frankly, I would be a bit concerned if Tyler Smith does not take over that starting left guard job in time for week one. First-round pick. Yes, he's raw with some technique stuff to work out. Hopefully the left guard position helps minimize some of those issues and woes. But Smith needs to be this team's year one starter, even if he's never going to end up being close to the player that Larry Allen is.